Alright, so hopefully this isn't, hopefully the audio is good and it's not too loud. Um, Still haven't really figured this out. Um, the audio level stuff. Let's see, how are my frames are looking? Good. They're not dropped. Can you, is the audio coming in okay? Yay or nay in the chat? Yeah. Test. Is that cool? Before I go forward. Um, let me know in chat if this sounds good. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Give me some feedback there, because I don't want to be going through the flight planning and stuff, and you hear like an echo, or you hear I have a fan on right here. Let me know if you like can hear the fan, and yeah, let me know. All right, I guess thumbs up. B Pain, what's up, dude? Appreciate the thumbs up. All right, cool. So in that case, yeah. So it's been a while, man, since I've done some flight sim, and the reason why is because when I'm at work, I do a fair amount of flying, and it's nice to come home and play some video games and kind of be away from it a little bit. Although one thing I do want to do more is what I'm doing right now, which is when I'm out on the road, like, and I know what the flight for the next day is going to be. I do the flight planning for the next day, anyways, if I know ahead of time enough. So why not why not bring in the folks from Stream into the flight planning process? I want to do more IRL stuff from the plane, so I definitely want to engage more with the flight community, and especially when I'm on the job. I figured that'd be really cool, like in uniform and stuff. This rotation, normally I work a rotation of 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. But this rotation, I'm actually coming in mid-rotation. I'm actually in the middle of it. I just started. I came in a week late because I had a friend covering for me, so I could do some date stuff with the babe. And so that's kind of why I'm not in uniform, even though I'm flight planning. Normally, I'm on air ambulance, and every flight is a uniform flight. Tomorrow will not be uniform. So tomorrow, I believe the plan is to fly out of KYIP, Ypsilanti, or Willow Run Airport, fly out of Yip for Chicago, ORD, and drop off some homies. We're going to be transporting pilots from the 121 operation. This is a 135 operation that I fly for. We're going to be transporting 121 pilots from Michigan to Chicago, from Ypsilanti to Chicago. And I don't know, I guess they're picking up a plane probably or something. But nonetheless, it's a very easy day. It's a couple of short flights, but I'm going to get the planning done for it right now, regardless. So, matter of fact, why would I do it on this iPad? I'm going to get my other iPad. I'm going to do it on my computer right here so you guys can see. But I'm also going to do it on my iPad since I use that in the plane. Boom. I wish I was able to use my personal one, because the GPS positions on here And I also have a personal JEP subscription on there, and we don't use JEP plates actually, unless we go out of the country. Out of the country, we use JEP stuff, but I figured we would use JEP even in the country, but we do not. So, all right. So I got my iPad right here. Let's see. Am I all updated in my ForeFlight? It looks good. Let's see. Do I need to download anything? There seems to always be something to download. Oh yeah, there's some stuff. There's some stuff. Luckily, internet's pretty good here. Ah, it's a small amount. Okay, so let me just double check my schedule. Matter of fact, I wonder if I can use the program here. Avianis. Okay. Let's see if I can sign in here with no problem. So my username. And what I'm doing right now is I'm on my iPad. And at work, they're starting to transition from written logs to a digital format, which I am a fan of. And of course, it's met with resistance from the old timers, no offense to them. But I like it, personally. Oh, shoot. And so I'm trying to sign into this app. Because this is actually where... Yeah. This is where that information is going to be logged. And I want to get in the habit of doing it from this app here. Okay. So it's not yet assigned. Going to tomorrow. Interesting. Okay. Available, day off, day off. Okay. Well, we'll try and put it in there tomorrow, but it does look like I'm in, so that's fine. Alright, going back to ForeFlight, we're still finishing up the download. I was just gonna see if tomorrow's flight, because otherwise I would look on the schedule, like the other schedule. I wanted to make sure that I had the destination correct before I do all this flight planning to a place that we're not really going to. But let me double check then online. And since it's not assigned, I didn't expect for it to be. I thought it might be in the app, but it's not, because it's not assigned yet to anybody. But I'm definitely gonna get it. So let's go check it out. Tomorrow, the 19th. There it is. No. There it is. ORD, baby, at 14:15 Zulu. 10 a.m. Zulu, 10:15 Zulu. So that is fantastico. That's plenty of time to go get a coffee. That's awesome. All right. So it is ORD. Let's check it out. Let's see what's going on. So where I always start first is flightplan.com, and I'm gonna take you guys there right now. There's flightplan.com. Actually, hold on one sec. Okay. All right. So here we are, flightplan.com. And I don't have the chat. You know what? I'm going to do the chat from my phone so I can see who says stuff. Since it doesn't come up, doesn't like pop up or anything. Is it Stream Manager? There's the chat. Okay, cool. Okay. So here we are, flightplan.com. Are we not going? Huh, okay. Yeah, you guys are able to see that. Okay, awesome. And so the first thing I'm going to do, like always, I'm just going to create this flight plan. I'm going to say it's not really that big of a deal. I'm going to say tomorrow at we are departing KYIP. And I'm going to plug my phone in, actually. We're using the battery. All right. KYIP, and we are going to KORD. And I am in the aircraft. This 123 Charlie Kilo is my Learjet 35 profile that I had set up. And, all right. So it looks like they're running the... This was on the 9th, the 5th. It looks like all the... so yeah, what are we looking at? 5 most recent planned ATC routes between those two. It looks like greater than 10 times on the 9th at 24,000 at flight level 240. This, what, that must be like an eclipse maybe? I'm not sure. A citation. You know, these jets here are basically all doing the same thing. And what we see here is actually something pretty cool. It's, what we see here is a departure procedure that is it's a departure procedure and an arrival that share a common fix. So it's a super simple, it's a departure and an arrival that can be stitched together really seamlessly, very nicely, because the end of the departure is the beginning of the arrival. It's the same point. And I love it when that happens. That's really, really nice. It's super easy from like a flight plan, like inputting, you know, standpoint. So I'm gonna do this, and I'm just gonna put that in my ForeFlight. I'm gonna say KYIP, I'm actually going to do it this way. I'm going to go to flights. I'm going to add a flight departing tomorrow at, I said, no, 14:15 Zulu. Wow, is it already 8 p.m. where I am? That's crazy. That's bonkers, dude. It's like bright as shit outside. Okay. 14:15 Zulu. Oh. Yeah. Okay. There you go. Departing, yep. And destination is ORD. Alright, so we're going to hold on to that. And it's the Kalen 2 SMUV 1. So let's see if we can actually copy and paste this into SkyVector. And do you guys see SkyVector? You do. That's awesome. So departure is KYIP. KORD. And speed, the true airspeed, I guess we can put in, well, we're gonna have a headwind, so maybe, I don't know, 400, I guess. Altitude is 240. And could not compute climb and descent, try lower cruising. Wow, I wonder, are we doing maybe, oh, it's only 30 minutes, dude. 30 minutes, that's probably gonna be 15,000 feet. Kalen 2, SMUV. Is that SMUV? And then we need the windy. That'll work. That will work. So that looks pretty good. There's your windy right there, I guess. And SMUV, and of course we're gonna like check that route and everything. We're gonna look at the procedures. We're gonna check all the fixes and stuff. Then we're gonna look at the weather. Actually, could get that going. Aviationweather.gov. Oh wow, it is messy out there with convective segments. You guys see that, right? Yeah. Dang. Alright. Well, we'll take a look at the weather at that time, but so we got that. So doubtful that we're going to be going all the way up to 240, but so the question is what about alternates? Looking at ForeFlight does this really cool thing where it suggests alternates and it tells you, based on your departure time and the forecasted weather, what is the weather going to be at the ETA at that alternate airport, and it's got a bunch of suggested ones. It also tells you the not only the weather, but the if the airport is towered or not, and what the longest runway is. So that's pretty awesome. Right now, I'm looking at, and what other type of approaches do they have? So I'm liking this KTOL. It's probably Toledo. Longest runway of 10,006. So I'm gonna do Toledo just for this, but let's take a look at that here for an alternate. KTOL. Actually, that doesn't make any sense, because why not just go back to Yip? You know what? I bet the alternate would be. Let's go back to that. Yeah, I didn't realize Toledo's right there, so that doesn't make any sense. What about in the vicinity of? What about PWK? No, longest runway is 5,000 feet. I'm not really feeling that. What about Midway? Is also not that impressive. 6,500 feet. You know what? Let's just do Midway. The weather's going to be good there, so let's just do that. MDW. And what I'm doing right now is I'm looking to make sure that the forecasted weather is at or above what it needs to be for us to legally file this airport as an alternate. Now, what we can do is go by the company's operation specifications. So the op specs that we're going to use for this flight planning is in addition to what we need regulatory wise. It doesn't replace the regulation, it doesn't supersede it, but what it does say is you use op specs with regulations. And so if there is an op spec, you have regulations that tell you, like you have to go by the alternate weather minimums, right? But what the op spec says is if there is a if at that airport, god damn it, dude, fucking. If that, what our op specs, what is it, Charlie 55, I think. The alternate weather minimums. What our op specs say is if the alternate airport has one approach to a single piece of pavement, like a single runway, a single piece of pavement, then what the weather needs to be in order for you to file that airport, the ceilings need to be 400 feet above the minimums for the approach that you're going to use, assuming that the wind and the nav aids are in service and all that stuff that favor that runway, and the winds favor that runway. The ceilings need to be 400 feet above the minimums associated with that approach that you're doing, and an additional mile added to those minimums. Looking at Midway, they've got all different types of pavement, dude. They have all different kinds of runways, and they have all different kinds of approaches to all different types of landing of pieces of pavement. So what our op specs say about that is if there's two or more approaches to at least two different pieces of pavement. In other words, if we have more options than one approach to a single runway, if we have more options than that, then instead of an additional, adding 400 feet to the minimums, we only need to add 200, and instead of 1 mile, we only need to add a half. So since there are multiple pieces of pavement at multiple approaches serving those pieces of pavement, and like this is weather permitting, right? So we come over here, and the TAF says throughout the period, it's from 19 on the 19th at the top to the 20th at 0600. In general, the winds are going to be 110 at 10. And so looking at those runways, it's probably going to be it's probably going to be the fours here. It's probably going to be the fours, 4 left and 4 right. What is the weather right now? weather right now is, or the wind right now is 100 at 8, right? So they're definitely using the 4s. So my question is are there NOTAMs that say, like, you know, that those are out of service? The ILS to 4 right. And I'm going to go look at that right now, actually. Because those need to be in service. Alright. And again, I'm not overthinking this because the forecasted weather in Chicago in Chicago tomorrow is going to be VFR. So it's gonna be a visual approach, you know what I mean? But this is just walking through, you know, the alternate selection process. So let's see here. The approach, I'm on ForeFlight right now. The ILS 4 right. I don't see a single NOTAM for that approach, which is pretty crazy. That's pretty awesome. So that is working. ILS to 4 right. And then what about the ILS to 1-3? Could do that. They might be even you doing those, to be honest with you. Yeah, you know what? They're probably using the 1-3s. They're probably using 1-3 center and what is it? 1-3. Yeah, they're probably using 1-3 center and 1-3 left. Actually, that's a smaller angle. So 1-3 center. The ILS minimums are 250 feet above the ground. So if we added 200, that'd be 450. Forecasted at the ETA, it would have to be 450 feet. OP. And then adding a half a mile to that, it's 4,000 RVR. 4,000 RVR, I believe, is 3/4 of a mile. Right. Right? That's what it is, right? We can actually look it up here. 14 CFR 91-175. Title 14 of the Code of Federal Regulations, Part 91, Sub 175, is taking off and landing IFR. And I know that in 91-175 there is a conversion table. And hot dang, would you look at that? 4,000 RVR, 3/4 mile, baby. So there you have it. Very good. So there's that. Let's actually, who knows? We might want to just keep that up, okay? So I'm not looking at 4 right actually anymore. I'm looking at 1-3 center. I'm looking at this. And looking at these minimums, right? So there's the minimums there. And so I'm not looking at this 861. Again, we're trying to see if the weather checks out to select Midway as an alternate that we're not going to use because weather's going to be VFR. But we're going to treat it just like any other. It doesn't matter, right? So we're not looking at 861. That's going to be the height or the altitude of the minimums on the altimeter. We're looking at the height. That's the difference between an altitude and a height. So the height is really what we want, because if we need to add, if ceilings need to be at or greater than 200 feet above the minimums, and ceilings are measured in height above the ground, then the reference, then if the number that we're adding 200 to also needs to be the height above the ground, and that's what this is. So when we're at 861 on the altimeter, we're 250 feet above the ground. And technically speaking, we're 250 feet above the touchdown zone for 1-3 center. So, you know, this is the height above the touchdown zone versus the height above the airport. That's what that number is based on. So that number is a height that's based on the airport elevation, whereas this number right here is based on the height above the touchdown zone for that specific runway if it's a straight in approach, which the ILS of course is. So so the ceilings would need to be 450 feet reported at the ETA, which is like basically at our ETA at ORD at O'Hare. 450 feet, and then that's 3/4 of a mile visibility. So you add a half a mile to that, you know, you got to have some good visibility. Now, the forecasted the TAF did say that. It said that throughout the next 30-hour period, it's a 30-hour TAF. Visibility is going to be greater than 6 miles with scattered clouds at 250. So let's see here. Let's figure this out, because we do have a few lines here in the TAF, and we'll pull a weather report later. But just saying, if we leave tomorrow at 14:15 Zulu, we're getting there at basically 14:45 Zulu, right? So let's just call it 1500 Zulu. Where do we find ourselves in this TAF? Hold on. Yeah, where do we find ourselves in this TAF? Well, I see, let's see here, from the 19th at 0700, we've got a temporary from the 19th at 1200 to 1600. And so, yeah, we're right in there. We're actually between the, so looking at the TAF where it says, let's actually pull it up here, because I can't really point to it without it going away. Really, that's all we need to look at. We're going from here to like here, so or like somewhere in here, I guess. Going to the TAFs, I'm just gonna put in actually, you know what we should do is try and do 1-800-WXBrief.com. Yeah, because I forget actually on here, GFA standard briefing actually. Service analysis, PIREPS, TAFs. Yeah, okay. Okay. I think I got this wrong. Alright, fuck you, dude. God damn it. Okay, well, let's just put it in here. So I'm gonna put in YIP and KORD. Normally what I like to do is pull up all the airports like in the area, and you know, in the standard weather briefing it should give me all that as well. But just for simplicity, so I could show you where we are in the O'Hare TAF, we'll pull it up here. So this is what we see. We could decode it, but you know, which is pretty nice. But looking at it raw, what do we see here? Well, first of all, this is the observation. Can you see this, or is this in the way? Yeah. This is the observation. This is the METAR. This is like the surface weather at O'Hare right now, and then this is the forecast right here. So we've got the airport. We've got the date, the 18th right now, at 23:20. That's the valid time, and then or this is the time where we find ourselves right now, and then this is the period that this is talking about. This is saying this TAF is valid from the 19th at 0000, right, at 2400 basically. Well, at 0000 to the 20th at 0600. So it's a 30-hour TAF, because 24 hours would be the 20th at the top, right? So the additional 6 hours makes 30 hours. So the 19th through the 20th at 0600. In general, this is the weather throughout the period going on, but what this is saying is from the 19th at 0400 until the 19th at 0700, this weather is going on, right? From 0700 until temporarily from the 19th to at 1200, this weather's going on, and then from the 1200 until 1600, this is going on. So quick pop-up showers, and then from 1600, you know, this is until 2200, this is going on. So if we know that we're leaving the airport at 14:15, where do we find 14:15 in here? We know that we're getting there. We're leaving at 14:15, and we're getting there 30 minutes later. We know that it's a 30-minute flight because our flight planning told us, right? We're doing 400 knots of true airspeed at 15,000 feet. It's saying 42. Oh yeah, no. So we'll probably get there at the top of the hour. We'll probably get there at well, if we're 15,000 feet, we're probably doing 340 true. And then, yeah, we'll just call it an hour, right? So something like that. So at 14:15, that's the top of the hour. That's 11, or excuse me, that's 1500 Zulu that we're landing. So that's definitely in the period between 0700 and 1200. So this is the line that I'm interested in. That's the forecasted weather at the ETA at our destination. And and because our alternate is right next door, that's essentially the ETA to our destination as well. You know, I can't imagine I'll look it up right here, but there's no way that it's more than 100 pounds of fuel. So remember, what this is saying is ceilings are at 7,000, visibility is greater than 6 miles, and the wind is 220 at Niner. That's actually pretty interesting. The forecasted winds are actually out of the southwest. So let's go back and see what kind of approaches are there. right down the runway at 22 right. So 22 left and right. Ideally, we do something at 22 left, though. You can see that it's a bigger runway. 22 left. Anything for 22 left? They got the RNAV Zulu for 22 left. Can we do it? Yes, we can. And the question is there any NOTAMs for that RNAV 22 left? I see one NOTAM. Just a taxiway NOTAM, though, so that's great. That is great. RNAV Zulu, 22 left. And we've also got RNAV 22 right. Two different approaches to two different pieces of pavement that the forecasted winds at the forecasted ETA favor that runway. So that's good. That is good. I also like it because here's our airport diagram on the approach procedure. Both runways have PAPI lights and no approach lights, though. No approach lights anywhere. Wow, how about that? So that's good. So we can use the 200 feet. Looking at that 22 left situation, Zulu 22 left, we've got 340. Oh, it's a localized performance only. No vertical guidance. But that's okay because we got a PAPI on the left. It's 6,400 feet of available runway. Probably a little less than that, actually. It's got a declared distance here. You can see there's a displaced threshold. So we'll have to look up what the distance, the landing distance actually is. The government charts are not as cool as JEP charts that tell you, beyond the threshold, like how much landing distance do you have. But oh, actually, no, these do tell you, yeah. Runway landing distance of 5810. 5810. Oh, the JEP charts tell you landing distance beyond, as if you land on the glide slope, which we do not have here, so never mind. But this does tell you that after that displaced threshold, you do not have 6,400 feet of available runway. You have, what does it say? 58, I think it said. 5,800. We can definitely do that. Especially tomorrow's going to be nice weather, so this will work. This will work. We can do the runway. We've got 349 foot height above the airport elevation. That is not straight in. You'll notice it is not straight in. It's an MDA. That is not straight into a runway. So this is going to be based on the height above the touchdown, or excuse me, height above the airport elevation. And there you go. So, so 200 feet above, let's just call that 350. That would be 550. We saw that the ceilings on the forecasted weather here were 7,000, so it's definitely good there. Visibility is greater than 6 miles, so if we added a half a mile, 5,500 RVR is 1 mile vis, so that is it's just shy of one. Actually, no. Yeah, because I think 6,000 RVR is 1 mile. It's just shy of 1 mile. I think that's 7/8. Let's actually see. 5,500 RVR. 6,000 is 1 1/4. So that's just over a mile. That's like 1 and something. So just over a mile. But basically, yeah, we're gonna have the visibility because it's greater than the visibility. The forecasted visibility is greater than 6, so we got that there. All right, awesome. So all in all, Midway works as an alternate. So we'll go ahead and select that for our alternate. And actually, what did it say that we needed? We needed. Oh, I need to select an aircraft first. it is thinking. It is also showing 43 minutes. Oh, it should not be 36. It should be, let's just say, we're going west, right? So we can do even numbers. Let's just say 16,000 feet. Yeah, it's showing a quick one, dude. It's showing 37 minutes. It's showing 1,000 pounds of fuel required. So we're definitely going to need to take that into account and make sure that we don't overfuel, because we don't want to be too heavy to land. So we'll figure that out performance-wise in a second. But Midway, yeah, dude, it's showing not even 100 pounds. It's showing 44 pounds. It's a 2-minute flight. It's right next door. So that's we can use the ETA to the destination, basically. All right. So Midway works. We worked through that in OpSpec Charlie 55 for being compliant with the 200.5, because we saw that instead of 401 with one approach to one piece of pavement, we've got 2 or more approaches to 2 different pieces of pavement. So that is good, and the winds favor those 2 runways. The 2 twos in that case. The route we said was this Kalen 2 SMUV wind. Excellent. There's that route. And then we'll add another one to come back. So ORD will probably be there. Let's see what. Our ETA is 1457. Call it 1500. Maybe be there for not even an hour. They're going to get off and we're going to leave, right? So let's just say might not even fuel, dude. We'll probably do wings and tips. Yeah, we'll say departure of 1545 just to be safe. But it's not even gonna. Let's just say 1530, dude. ORD to Yip. That is going to be Odd Pilots Fly East. So we'll come back at 15,000. And we'll just say Detroit Metro as our alternate. Good weather at the ETA. Just for shits and giggles, what's that route look like? Let's see here. Rainer, Bartman, Taze, Squid. It's a weird looking one. I like that one. Just do that. Okay. But back to the Yip ORD situation. So that looks pretty good to me, man. So we have our alternate. Let's look at the weather. So I like to use this GFA tool in aviationweather.gov. It's like you can put the route in there, and you can go through everything that you need to know. So we're doing KYIP, KORD, and if it's a long route, you know, I like to put the whole kind of route in there, but it's really not. It's essentially this, and this is definitely good enough for our purposes here. So we're talking about 12 Zulu, right? That date right there. Getting there at 13 Zulu. So, you know, if we wanted to exclude the alternate from our flight plan and therefore not need to bring that fuel, then, you know, this is a very handy tool because what the regs say for 135, let's actually find it for you guys here. Let's do part 1. Title 14. Let's just go here. 135. Okay. So part 135. It's gonna be. Is it gonna be in this? Minimum altitudes, weather reports and forecasts. Let's see here. Indicate weather conditions will be at or above. Okay. Yeah, so here you go. So in part 135, we've got like the 1, 2, 3 rule is, you know, when anytime you're trying to, you want to legally be able to exclude your alternate airport from your IFR flight plan. When you're in general aviation flying, the Part 91 regs say Part 91, 167, as well as 169 will tell you that two conditions must be met in order for you to exclude the alternate airport from your IFR flight plan and therefore not need to bring the fuel required to get to that alternate, right? You free up some weight there. The two conditions that need to be met are, number one, the destination needs to have an approved approach procedure. And number two, an hour before and an hour after the ETA at the destination, the destination airport needs to have at or above 2,000 foot ceilings. Forecasted ceilings are at or above 2,000 feet. AGL, obviously, and 3 miles visibility. So that is those two conditions, right? It needs to have an instrument approach and the 1, 2, 3 rule. Now, 1 hour before, 1 hour after the ETA, 2,000 foot ceilings or greater, and 3 miles visibility, the 1, 2, 3 rule. In part 135, we have our version of that, which is this. It's an hour before, it's this paragraph right here. It's IFR alternate airport requirements, right? You can exclude, it doesn't apply as long as there's an instrument approach procedure for the airport the first airport, the destination, and right, and 1 hour before, 1 hour after the ETA, forecasted ceilings to be at least 1,500 feet above the lowest circling approach MDA, or if a circling instrument approach is not authorized for the airport, the ceiling will be at or at least at or above, right? 1,500 feet above the lowest published minimum, or 2,000 feet above the airport elevation, whichever is higher. So that's when we would come here and we'd say, okay, they do have, let's see if they've got a circling approach. Our proposed approach would be this, oh wait, no, not O'Hare. Oh, yeah, this is the destination that we're talking about, so my bad. Yeah, that the destination needs to have... So what? The forecasted weather at the destination... Oh, we saw, yeah, broken 7,220 at 9, right? So you've got the ILS 22 left, I believe. Is that what we wanted? Let's see, where are we going? I have no idea where we're dropping them off. We're probably doing signature. Oh, oops. So... yeah, we're probably doing signature. So I imagine we're doing 2-7 center. We're doing one of the 2-7s. We could also do 2-2 right, actually. That'd be a piece of cake. 2-2 right? What do they have for 2-2 right? They got an ILS for 2-2 right. They got it all over there at Chicago. Jesus. Do they have any NOTAMs for the approach into 2-2 right? I see one NOTAM. It is runway 22 right closed. Wow, okay, we can't do that. Well, that won't work. Then what about... one of the big ones then. What about 2-7? Because signature is... It was like up in here. So staying on this side versus like down here on the 2-8s, you know, it'd be better to do that. So 2-7 would be pretty awesome. Two 7 center? Shit. What do we need? My bad. 2-7 center would be awesome. 2-7 center. All right. Notice there's no circling minimums, right? Just like that regulation was talking about. I'm just going to look this up really quick. ILS 2-7 center, 3 NOTAMs. 2-2 right is closed. But otherwise, ILS 2-7 center. Yep, the 5G thing, definitely. Excellent. Okay, so just the 5G. So we can do it. We can definitely do it. The forecasted winds favor that runway, and there are no NOTAMs that I see that the nav aids are out. So we need to have forecasted ceilings be 1,500 feet above the lowest, the circling minimums, or if there are no circling minimums, then 1,500 feet above the lowest straight-in minimums, or 2,000 feet above the airport elevation, whichever is greater. So let's take a look at that. So here's the lowest straight-in minimums right here. 2,000 feet, okay? Or excuse me, 200 feet height. So 1,500 feet added to that is 1,700 feet. That would be 1,500 feet above the lowest circling, or excuse me, the lowest straight-in minimums, right? You're not going to get localizer minimums that are lower than ILS. You're not going to get any lower than an ILS. So there's your 1,700 feet, all right? Now, or 2,000 feet above the airport elevation, whichever is greater. Obviously, the 2,000 feet above the airport elevation is greater. So that would be, let's just say 2,700, or excuse me, yeah, 2,700 feet. So the ceilings would need to 2,000 feet above the airport elevation is the greater number, so we're going to use that. And as far as visibility goes, I believe it was either, what was it, a 1.5? No, it was add 2 miles, right? The visibility for the airport is to be at least 3 miles or 2 miles more than the lowest applicable visibility minimums. 2 miles more. So 3 or 2 miles more than the lowest applicable visibility minimums. So 1800 RVR is a quarter mile visibility. And so 2 miles more than 1/4 is 2 1/4. Or remember, it's got to be 3 or 2 miles more than the required visibility, whichever is greater. So in this case, we'd be using 3 miles visibility because 2 1/4 is less than 3. So we would be using 2,000 feet above the airport, above the airport elevation here, 2,700 feet, right? That's this plus 2,000 feet. And then we'd be doing 3 miles because that is greater than 2 1/4 mile, right? So the ceilings would, in order for us, what are we doing? What are we even talking about? What we're talking about is if we're trying to fly into Midway. So what part 135 says, what is it, 135 225 223, excuse me, 135 223 says if you want to exclude the alternate and forego filing an alternate airport altogether, which would allow you to take less fuel, because normally the fuel that you need to bring when you're IFR is to your destination alternate and then 45 minutes after your alternate at normal cruise power. So if you can take one of those off and not need an alternate, you can afford to take less fuel. But what they're saying is the weather's got to be really nice there, pretty nice, marginal VFR in this case. But I mean, it's got to be nice enough in order for you to do that, right? We're talking about flying Part 135 IFR and not filing a Plan B, which, I don't know, I would always file a Plan B personally. And, we like to bring 2,000, we like to land with 1,500 to 2,000 pounds of fuel anyways, which usually covers that. But, but yeah, if you want to do that, then what they're saying is in this case, the ceilings would need to be, the forecasted ceilings at the ETA an hour before and an hour after the ETA would need to be at or above 2,700 feet and greater than 3 miles visibility. We come here to the GFA, and what we do is we know that we're leaving at 1400 Zulu, and we're getting there at 1500 Zulu. So if we're getting there at 1500 Zulu, then an hour before and an hour after, right? An hour before is here, and an hour after is here. We need visibility greater than 3. So we see no blue here, right? There's our scale down there, somewhere in the pink and bluish range. And we see nothing. We see it's totally fine. So the visibility passes, and the ceilings need to be at or above 2,700 feet, we calculated, right? Based on that reg. We see here that they are forecasted to be, let's see here, an hour, let's see here, we're leaving at, what did I say, 14 Zulu? So an hour before is going to be nothing. We see greater than, we see it nothing. We see it off the scale. 1400's looking weird. 1400 is looking weird. And 1500 actually. we're seeing in excess of 3,000 feet. But we did see on the TAF that it passed, and that we would be able to exclude that alternate, but we're not going to. So a little bit of regulations there as well, and some of the flight planning process, how we go into doing that. So, all right, what next? So we got the alternate taken care of. We looked at the oh yeah, more weather products. So what else here? This is our route. Let's take a look at Signets. It looks like we got no convective Signets out there really in that area, although they are around. Actually, let's go back to the GFA. Just go one by one. So the TAF, you see here Chicago, O'Hare. Yeah, the temporary, we saw that already from 0700 to... Oh, excuse me. No. We're not in this, dude. We're in this temporary. I don't know what I was tripping on, man. We're the 19th at 1200 through the 19th at 1600. That's absolutely we're smack in the middle of this temporary right here. I don't know what I'm tripping on. We got ceilings at 3,500 feet and light rain showers. So this still passes though, because we scattered clouds are not. Here's scattered at 2,500. That is not a ceiling, right? The regulation specifies that ceilings need to be at or above the 1,500 feet, right? 1,500 feet above the circling minimums, or if there are no circling minimums, which there weren't for that approach, then 1,500 feet more than the lowest straight-in minimums, which amounted to 2,700 feet, or which amounted to 1,700 feet or 1,800 feet or something, or 2,000 feet above the airport elevation, whichever is greater. We had a 700-foot field elevation. 2,000 feet more than that is 2,700. That is the greater number, so we're going to use that. 2,500 feet is less than 2,700 feet, but those are not ceilings, right? Ceilings are here at 3,500 feet, which is greater than 2,700. And that is an hour before, an hour after, by the way, right? The period from 1,200 to 1,600 covers an hour before and an hour after our ETA, right? The ETA is roughly 1,500 Zulu. So there's our 1,600 Zulu right there. This line encompasses an hour before and an hour after. So, yeah, cute. So yeah, I'm tripping, dude. That is where we should have been looking this whole time. So TAFs, and let's look at the TAF for Yip, dude. We see that on the 18th. This was issued the 18th at 2320 Zulu. On the 19th at 000 to the 19th at 2400, that's a 24-hour TAF. 150 at 4, scattered clouds, good visibility. We're taking off tomorrow at 1450 Zulu at the top of this TAF here. So 1400, we got some gusting winds, good visibility, broken clouds that are up high. Same with the scattered clouds, actually. The scattered clouds are pretty high. So, good weather out of there as well. So that's good. So we got forecasted stuff. Ceilings and visibility we looked at. 1400 Zulu there. Let's look at the clouds. So proposed time tomorrow is 1500 Zulu. And looking at the clouds in the area, I love this filter. I love this, like, what we're looking at here is we're kind of zoomed in here. So there's the United States, there's Michigan, there's Illinois, there's Chicago right there. So zooming in, what you see are like these blue blobs represent clouds. And these numbers are telling you where the bottoms of the clouds are and where the tops are. So this is showing for this area, we're showing overcast at 9,000 at 15 Zulu. The forecasted clouds are going to be 9,000 feet. You know, anywhere between 7, 9, we've got 10, somewhere in there. And then tops at 38,000. That's some verticality. That's some volume for sure. Immediately what I think of is it a front? Is there like, you know, is there a front moving through that's like causing that moist air to be lifted? Is it a low pressure that's lifting it? Is there some sort of bumpiness that to me, that's really, really tall clouds. So there's some instability going on. There's a lot of moisture, there's a lot of instability. I'm curious, you know, what the winds aloft look like, if there's wind, if there's bumpy or air mets or sigmets coming down on the descent. I'm wondering about that, if we're going to have some stacked air mets and sigmets when we come to these these hazardous weather advisories here, because yeah, that is quite some thickness to it. It's thick. So that is that. I wonder how it is on the way, like along the journey here. I'm seeing a lot of tops at 38. We're gonna be probably in the clouds the entire time. So, because like we were saying, our proposed cruise altitude is probably only going to be like 15,000 or excuse me, 16,000 or something, you know. So let's look at precipitation and weather at that time. 15 Zulu. Yeah, they're showing it's going to be a little bit of rain, and that's pretty consistent with what we saw in the TAF as well. We looked at the forecast and we saw that there was some forecasted light rain in the temporary forecast line that we saw from that in that period that we found ourselves here. So so yeah, that's good to know. It looks like that it will have been passing though, right? Ultimately it's moving away from us, so so there's that. Thunderstorm stuff, you see, this is what I was talking about. When you've got a lot of moisture and you've got, clearly it's unstable because there's all this there's verticality to it. We saw that the ceilings were at 7, 8, or 9,000 feet, but it goes all the way up to 38,000 feet. That's a lot of moisture and that's a lot of verticality, but that's a lot of unstable air. So anytime you've got moisture, an unstable lapse rate, and a sufficient lifting action, which we still don't know what's causing that. It might be a low pressure. It might be a cold front moving in. It might be some other frontal type of interaction. Maybe it's a steady rain. It did say light rain, so it's not like heavy rain or whatever. But kind of makes me think it might be either a low pressure or a cold front, because here's this this thunderstorm advisory saying, yeah, there's a slight chance for some isolated thunderstorms in the area. So to me, that doesn't say, you know, steady precipitation. Like it sounds like it's a little bit of some thunderstorm stuff type of things brewing, you know. it didn't seem like there was any convective activity that they were reporting, so it's probably not hardcore, but you know, it is something I want to look into with some of the other graphical weather products. Winds. We got some heavy winds over there as well. Like we were saying, here are these headwinds here, and it's looking like over 100 knots. Let's see here. We're down at 15, so let's look at... Oh, here we go. No. So that looks a little more reasonable. I'm like, damn, 100 knots at 15,000? Jesus. But no, so that was at the... What I changed there was the max. What that's saying is somewhere between the ground and 48,000 feet, the wind is gnarly. Well, yeah. But where are we going to be? I'm going to go to 15. And there we go, some reasonable stuff. So like 35, 37, 36, somewhere knots, somewhere in there. And it will be a headwind, though. It will be a headwind. Low-level wind shear. No low-level wind shear forecasted. That's good. Turbulence. Looks like maybe some light turbulence on the way down. And like, that's what we were saying. Anytime, just by looking at the thickness of those clouds, the only thing that can cause that, or the types of things that can cause that, usually are accompanied by other types of phenomenon. So what I was saying is what we're seeing right here was like, I wonder about low-level wind shear. I wonder about turbulence on the way down, right? I also wonder about, I know it's not winter anymore, but I do wonder about icing. And, you know, the fact is we're going to be going through clouds the entire time. So I'm curious about where that freezing level is, because if the clouds are that thick, then we're definitely coming through them on the descent. If they're that thick and that high, you know, I'm wondering at what point are we maybe going to be picking up some ice. And this is a flight in a known icing airplane, so it's okay. But we do want to, you know, be aware of where that icing is. We'll look at that. And there it is, right? Wow, like on cue. And you know, the other giveaway it is frontal. I mean, you could just look at this. It's completely frontal. Matter of fact, hold on. I mean, look at that. It's a line, dude. We'll go and confirm that it's a front, but I want you to remember that, because when we go actually look at the surface analysis chart, but this absolutely is a front. You got definitely some low pressure going on here. You can see here, like, these winds are coming in from a counterclockwise motion. There seems to be a low pressure here above Wisconsin that's stirring all this up, and that is most likely going to bring in you know, we're talking about the north Midwest. We're talking about clearly a low pressure system that's coming through, that's causing all this precipitation, this turbulence that we saw, and now we're looking at icing. Guarantee you that's a cold front. Guarantee you that's a cold front. And we're going to take a look at that on the surface analysis chart when I haven't pulled it up yet, but so far everything lines up with it being frontal. And so my guess is we're going to see a big fat L somewhere above Wisconsin here, being a low pressure, and off of at least one of those tails that are going to be coming off of that low pressure is probably a cold front. That's just a guess. Now, looking at 15,000 feet, yeah, we're going to be running into some ice for sure. I'm wondering how far up that ice goes. So it starts around 10,000 feet, somewhere between 9 and 12,000 feet. And it just goes all the way up, you know, 24, 27. So it stops around 24. So yeah, we're definitely going to be having the heats on. And yeah, so that's that. So that's the GFA tool. I love it. Look at a band of the that's just a dead giveaway, dude. It's a line, for God's sake. You know, of course it's a front. Clouds are also in a line. When you zoom out, you can see, you know. So that's the GFA. I love it. That's a great tool. That replaced the area forecast. And let's take a look at that radar just as a different thing here. Oh, it's not going. See, the radar is really only telling us what was there, not what is forecasted. The other one was a forecast, so. All right. So, you know what? I actually want to look at that convection really quick. So we definitely do. We see this, again, pretty consistent with a line. Right in here is what we're talking about. There's a lot of shit everywhere else, but this line right here is pretty consistent. And I bet that's moving through that way, just like that. We'll take a look at the surface analysis here in a second. So icing. We are at 15,000. And we're talking about... For Zulu, we're talking about that right there. I'm at 6, or excuse me. There's 13 Zulu and 16 Zulu. We're talking about right in there. 18 hours from now on May 19th. So yeah, we're looking at heavy, moderate to heavy icing on the way in. Mostly moderate though, not heavy. And at that time, like we said, you know, Route 22210, flight level 210. Cool. So that's a good icing chart. Also notice there's no super cooled large water droplets threat. There's no SLD threat like there is out in off the coast here. There's a little bit here actually. Yeah, there's a little bit, but I mean not down where we're gonna be. But that, of course, super cooled large water droplets will be the clear ice risk. So we do not want the clear ice. But it looks good. Winds and temps aloft. So let's see if we can confirm our suspicion that the conditions for possible isolated thunderstorms are coming around. We know that there's sufficient moisture because we saw multiple precipitation reports on the radar, on the green, light green, dark green, right, the radar. We saw that there were light rain showers in the area on the TAF. The icing, clouds, like multiple things were indicating a cold front. You know, forcing, that would be like coming through like a wedge and forcing all of that moist air up. And so my question is there an unstable lapse rate? Because if that were the case, then those three things amount to a thunderstorms in the area: sufficient moisture, lifting action, and unstable lapse rate. And the unstable lapse rate, you may recall, is what we mean by lapse rate is the rate of temperature change per unit altitude, per altitude gain, right? So presumably the air cools as you go higher, right? It gets colder as you go higher for reasons like pressure related. There's less air. So with less air, there's less pressure. With less molecules bouncing around, you get colder. And so an unstable, that rate, there's a stable rate at which air cools for every 1,000 feet, right? And that's 2 degrees Celsius per 1,000 feet. So anything slower than that rate is indicating some sort of instability. The fact is that with something less than 2 degrees Celsius per 1,000 feet, what they're saying is there's more altitude required to cool that air because of all that water that's in it. It takes a lot of energy to change the temperature of water in general. And so, you know, I'm curious, what is that lapse rate? What is that temperature change per 1,000 feet? And that can be found in the winds aloft here. You can see for every, you got increments of 3,000 feet here, and you can see what the temperature is, the winds and temperatures aloft. So looking at ORD, where yet? ORD. I did pick the right one, right? Oh, I guess I need JOT. What's JOT? Okay, here we go. This line is what I'm looking at right here. Right there. So, okay. Well, 1,000% we have an unstable lapse rate because look at what's, like I said, stable air will decrease its temperature 2 degrees Celsius per 1,000 feet. These are 3,000 foot increments, okay? We see here from 6 to 9,000, that's 3,000 feet difference. The temperature changes only 1 degree. It decreases 1 degree in 3,000 feet, when it's supposed to standard is 2 degrees per 1,000 feet. Right, 2 degrees per 1,000 feet. We should see 6 degrees of temperature change right here, but we don't. We see 1, right? So 1 is a lot less than 6, and that is definitely what they're saying is it's taking a lot for that to it's taking a lot of altitude to change, taking a lot of energy to change this even 1 degree. That is an unstable lapse rate. From 9 to 12, another 3,000 feet should be 6 degrees. So that's kind of getting back to standard. 7 to 2, right? It should be, if it's 7 degrees at 9,000 feet, then, you know, if you got 3,000 feet between 9 and 12, and it's 2 degrees per 1,000, right? 2 times 3 is 6. The difference between 9 and 12,000 feet should be 1 degree Celsius. From 7 minus 6 is 1. So that's actually getting back to normal. It's really unstable at those altitudes right in there. And then from 12 to 8, that is 6,000 feet of difference. 6 times 2 is 12. So 2 minus 12 should be minus 10. So it does. It goes back to you know, somewhat of a stable state right in there. But right in here, 1,000%, dude. You've got an unstable lapse rate right in there. Right in that at those altitudes, at these altitudes, it's probably going to be quite bumpy. It's going to be, air's going to be churning around, and right at those altitudes, you've got some thunderstorm type stuff at least eligible. Now, the reality is it's a little pocket right in there. I don't see it unstable all the way up, like super gnarly. It actually stops right in here. It stops right in there. So I don't think there's going to be enough oomph to get these thunderstorms going, but you're probably going to feel it a little bit coming down for sure. But that's an interesting confirmation in our suspicion. Winds and temps aloft. Prague charts. Here we go. Moment of truth. And would you look at that? There's the big L above Wisconsin that I suspected I would see. Matter of fact, there are 2 of them duking it out. Big low pressure area, and not even relatively low. Like, this is like an actually low pressure area. The standard, these are numbers are pressures. 10-9, 10-18, 10-10, 10-12. These are millibars or hectopascals. So 1009 millibars. The standard pressure in millibars is 1013. So 1009, 1010, 1012 right here. This is definitely like an actual low pressure area. Not a super duper low pressure area. Oh, you know what? Let's go to the oh my. That's it right now. That's it right now. Let's go to tomorrow, dude. Oh, they have weather right now. That's crazy. Look how low it got. 1009, 1008, 107. Big ass low pressure right here. And there's those cold fronts I told you I was suspecting. But tomorrow, this is us actually. Yep. Thunderstorms, isolated thunderstorms in the area. They have this whole area marked off, but we're putting the pieces together that, yeah, it's gonna be probably bumpy, it's gonna be cloudy, you're gonna have some icing, it's gonna be wet, but these red hashes here look a lot worse than what we're seeing. We saw that the lapse rate, we did go to the correct time, right? Going back to the winds and temps aloft. Oh, I don't think we were looking at the right time. Hold on. Low level. JOT. Yeah, we weren't looking at the right time. So, let's see what's going on here. Oh, yeah, no, this is fine. This is fine. I see it even better then, dude. Between, this is our time for sure. 12 Zulu to O Zulu, 000. Right, for use, the 19th at 1800. For use of 1200 to 100, yeah. Oh, valid 19th at 1800. So let's go to, yeah, valid the 19th. Yeah, based on the 18th at 1800 Zulu for 20, valid for 24 hours for use from 1200 to 000. Okay, so this is the one that we're supposed to be looking at. JOT right in here. Yeah, this lapse rate is even more stable than what it's going through right now. What we were looking at is what's happening to it right now. You know, we look at the 3,000 feet between 6 and 9, and it goes from 8. It should be 6 degrees of cooling, and it is it's 4 degrees of cooling. So it is cooling slower, but it's not as crazy as it is right now. So it does kind of calm down. So I just don't see it that crazy. Like, look at forecasted, it's 4 to -1 across those 3,000 feet. I don't really see the instability that would support all of this thunderstorm stuff that I see right here. See, that's it right now. And then, you know, throughout the period here, this is 2400 or 000 on the top on the 19th. That's in the morning. There we are leaving 2 hours after this, and this is what it's becoming. So, I don't know, like, it's closer to this time. And, yeah, you definitely have, like, these areas of, like, hardcore rain. Yeah, I mean, I could see, and that's where all that convective activity was that we saw, but I just don't see it happening here. First of all, this low pressure right here, isn't even that low. It's not like 1,000, or it's not like, 1001 or something. It's 1010, with, again, 1013 being standard. The 1008 is having a stronger pull, is the one that's winning this fight right here between these low pressures. But I just don't. I get that there's some red hash marks right here indicating thunderstorms. There's your legend down there. I just don't see it really happening. I think it's going to be wet. I think it's going to be cloudy, icy, rainy. But as far as thunderstorms go, I just don't see it. The TAF also suggested that it's going to be pretty benign. That, yeah, with light showers in the I think it might said in the vicinity. I forget, or maybe rain showers, light rain showers. It didn't say anything about thunderstorms in the TAF and in the period that we're concerned with. The fact that there weren't really low ceilings, that it was forecasted to be 7,000, or excuse me, it was going to be 3,500. We re-looked at the TAF. It wasn't the 7,000 broken. It was like broken at 3,500, I think. I just don't see it. I don't see the. But, we proceed with caution. We select the alternate anyways, right? So. And then, yeah, we take a look at the discussion just for good measure. Chicago. So. Ooh, wind shift. Let's take a look at those winds again. Those winds aloft. That was another thing, another good reason to look at winds aloft. JOT. Do we have a shift in the winds? We do not. That's another indication that, the wind is moving as the front moves through and as that low pressure kind of comes through. But we don't see major shift in wind direction. Like we see here 220 at 17, 250 at 14, 240 at 13. It starts off at coming from 220 from the southwest, and then it makes its way around to the west eventually, but it stays in that quadrant. It's not like, at it's 250 at 14, 240 at 13. That's like so consistent for the most part. It's not like it goes from 250 at 14 to like 020 at 20, and 25. You're like, whoa, like that huge abrupt change in wind direction would indicate wind shear and bumpiness on the way down, and so you would see that. But yeah, let's see here. Looking at the period tomorrow that we'll be going there. 240 at 32. It's not going to be a cakewalk, but it's not going to be super smooth. But yeah, man, it's not going to be. It's not. There is not wind. There is no wind shear. There is no wind shear, right? Because in order for what would indicate wind shear, let's see if we can find some wind shear on here. Here's a perfect example of some wind shear. DLH, we've got, oh shit, I just had it. Where did it go? Where did you go? Oh, damn it. I missed it. Oh, here's an example. Right here. We've got over GFK, wherever that is, probably right in the thick of all of that gnarliness that we're not going to experience up in Chicago. We've got wind at one altitude. What altitude is that? 18,000 and 24,000 comparison. So we got at 18,000, we've got 010 at 36, and then only 6,000 feet greater, you've got, oh no, wait, no, that's not bad. That's not bad, sorry. Hello, wind shear, where are you? You got 030, 0. Oh, dude. There we go. Holy shit, man. This is almost 180 degrees of change, man. So 040. So at 12,000 feet over MQT, you've got wind 040 at 5, temperature of -10, and then only 6,000 feet later at 18,000, now all of a sudden it's 250 at 8. That is major wind shear. That is major change in abrupt change in wind direction. 040 is out of the northeast, and then 250 is southwest. So yeah, you're definitely getting rocked. That is going to be a bumpy area. So we do not see that over here at JOT. It's all consistently, you know, basically out of the west, southwest. All right. So that sounds good to me, man. That sounds good. I like it. So we got our planning. Let's take a look at these procedures and then call it a day. So we said we're doing the Kalin 2 SMUV transition. So let's see what that looks like. It's an RNAV departure. You guys see that all right? All right, it's the Kalin 2. It's an RNAV departure. So immediately we want to look at the notes first. We need a RNAV 1 capability. Radar required. We got our GPS. Turbojet departures at or above 10,000, which we will be. We'll maintain 280 until advised. We need to watch that. And unable to accept 500 feet per nautical mile climb. Advise clearance delivery on initial contact. So we should be able to do that. So we want to hold 280 all the way up. Top altitude is assigned by ATC. We'll probably use runway 23, I imagine, but it doesn't matter. It serves all runways. We've been running either 23 or 5. So looks like if we're running 23, we're gonna go out straight ahead on a 234 heading, and then radar vectors to cross metricked at or above 4,000, and then Kalin, ICE, and then SMUV. All GPS fixes. And that's pretty consistent with what the narrative says here. For runways 23, climb on heading 234 to 1220. Radar vectors. There you go. Very straightforward, and all I'm going to do is be in the cockpit tomorrow morning inputting those fixes and making sure I got this procedure out in front of me and that the fixes and altitudes match. And that's basically it for the departure. For the standard instrument departure, the SID. So where is SMUV? I believe this is SMUV. And SMUV should be the start of the arrival into O'Hare. So let's take a look at the Wind 2. We got 2 pages to look at. We got the Wind 2 arrival. It, like the Kalin, it is an RNAV procedure, except this is an arrival. That was a departure. And where is SMUV? Ah, there's SMUV. SMUV is this lonely fix on the way out here. We're not doing any of this gnarliness. All of this stuff coming from the north and everything. Very easy. We go from SMUV to wind. And then we're on the other. This is us right here. The SMUV transition. Let's look on that second page. So from SMUV we go to wind, and then from wind we got fire. Let's see, what are we're doing landing runways. Yeah, we said the 27s center, I believe, from tubes on a 221 track to Vulcan, and then to Kirk, and then BAMB, and then radar vectors. Alright, so let's take a look at that. Wind, fire, Ernie. And then Pappy and tubes. And then from tubes, right, it says ORD landing west. If they're landing west, then we can expect radar vectors after Pappy, but they're not landing west. Right, if they were landing west, we would go from here, probably get a base leg here, and then on the ILS probably. Oh, no, we are figuring landing west, right? We're saying they're landing runway 27s. So that's what we're going to assume. We're going to assume we're going to come down here to wind, fire, Ernie, Pappy, and then since we're figuring they're going to be landing west, we're going to get radar vectors from Pappy to the ILS 27 center. So let's take a look at what happens after Pappy and where we're probably going to be going from there. I'm going to pull up the ILS 27 center. Alright, so we're looking at the ILS 27 center into Chicago O'Hare tomorrow. We are current and correct. We got the date right there. It is current. We're going to be using 111.9, approach course of 273. We got the ALSIF 2 approach lights. Those are the big-ass approach lights. Let's take a look at those bad boys. ALSIF 2 lighting. These things are pretty crazy looking. Look at those. Pretty nice. They're pretty nuts. There you go. That's a pretty good picture, I think. Or is it? No, it's blurry. Dang, of course. Oh, dang, that was a good one. Yeah. Right, so we've got the lead-in lights, we've got these runway alignment lights, and then we got the red terminating bars. That's, of course, part of taking off and landing IFR in that reg. That's, walking you, it's the regulation that walks you down and says, what things you need to see at what point, and then you can continue. The red terminating bars are pretty sweet because if you're in really bad weather, you get down to your decision altitude, and you have to, and all you see are these lead-in lights, these lights way out here, and you don't yet see the red terminating bars, right? All you see are those white lights. You can continue down past your DA, continuing the descent to 100 feet above your touchdown zone elevation. Continue down to 100 feet above your touchdown zone elevation, at which time you must see something either in the runway environment, or if you don't, if all you see are the red terminating bars, you can continue down. If you don't see the red terminating bars and you don't see any of the other visual references, you actually need to abort the approach and stop, and initiate the missed approach procedure. Not all approach lights, first of all, not all runways have approach lights, but if you do, they're not commonly these big ass like ALSIF like approach light systems. A lot of them are Mausers and Mausifs. They're kind of more simple, but still super good. Like Mauser. They're the more common ones, like this. You know, it's your lead. They're leading you in. You got these runway alignment lights right here. It's another pretty good one. So yeah, the Mausers no red terminating bars. If you reach the end of the road and you don't have the visual references that you need, you got to get out of there. But the red terminating bars, it's a good look. It's a good deal. So the Alsif 2 is right there, and looks like we'll get the ATIS there. They got a digital ATIS. That's pretty cool. We'll be on with Chicago Approach, on with the tower, and then no notable terrain because we're coming in over the ocean. There is an obstacle low and close in over there. It's like the largest obstacle under the final approach course is 823, although you have a 2325 to the south of the final approach course. Minimum safe altitude's 3,400 feet, all quadrants. And we're just probably going to catch the ILS on some base leg or intercept angle and ride it all the way down. But otherwise, you know, we'd be doing these step downs kind of gnarly. And the step downs are actually based on DME only. So see, it's the DME of the localizer. So like you've got 22.1 miles away from the antenna, 18.9 miles away from the antenna, 15.8, 12.7. As you get closer and closer to the antenna, that DME is going to be going lower and lower in the number because you're getting closer. That's how many miles away you are. So that makes sense. And then eventually, final approach fix is glide slope intercept at 2,200 feet down to 853 on the altimeter, 200 feet RVR, or excuse me, 200 feet above the ground, 1,800 RVR. And again, 1,800 feet RVR is quarter mile visibility. And that's that. And then we're going to come in and land 27 center. And then what are we going to do? I believe we're going to signature, although I don't know yet. And signature is right in this top corner here. Right in this top area. So my guess is we're going to probably land a little long, get off at Fox, and then Delta, cross runway 22 right at Delta, Mike, November to the ramp, and then boom, parking somewhere in there. All right. So that's the plan. That's the weather. We didn't look at PIREPs, but you know you'd want to look at PIREPs in the weather briefing. We talked about the alternate airport. The amount of fuel that we need. We need, based on the fuel calculations in ForeFlight, we need, call it 1,200 pounds of fuel. Not a lot. So let's work that out. We can't land, it depends on what airplane, I don't even know what airplane we're taking. But let's just say that it's a regular Lear 35. So we can't land heavier than 15,300 pounds. So I kind of like to shave off a couple hundred pounds just to be safe. Let's just call it 15,100. We know that we're going to burn, let's just say 1,200 pounds of fuel. And let's just throw in an extra 100 pounds for the alternate, let's say. Okay. Now, this is a... I don't know what the empty weight of the airplane is. So what we're doing right now is full with 15,100 pounds plus the burn. right? 15,300 was the max landing weight, so that's what I'm basing this on. Because what you don't want to do is just top the plane off and go fly for 30 minutes or 45 minutes and realize, holy shit, like we're too heavy to land this thing because we've got 5,000 pounds of fuel on board. But maybe wings and tips would be okay. I don't know. We're going to figure it out. So 16,000, what I'm saying is you don't want to just like totally top the plane off with like, 6,000 pounds of fuel and then realize you got to dump fuel because you're too heavy. So we're going to burn, so we got 15,003 as our max landing weight. Shave a couple hundred pounds off so that we're within that comfortably, call it 15,1. We're going to burn 1,200 pounds plus 100. That puts us at 16,004 for a takeoff weight, 16,004. And what that means is we can burn 1,200 pounds. If we take off at like 16,4, we burn 1,200 pounds, and we're sitting there at 15,200 pounds, right? We can burn the fuel that we need to burn and be at or below max landing weight, so that's nice. Now what I'm curious about is what our fuel order needs to be. So it's going to be 16,400 pounds that we take off. It's probably going to be a 10,400 pound empty plane. It's going to be, there's probably going to be, I don't even know, maybe 3 dudes. Let's just say each of them are 180 pounds. Okay. So 16,400 minus the emptying weight, minus 3 guys, is 5,400 pounds of fuel that we can take maximum. Right? We can't take any more than that because any more than that puts us too heavy for landing weight. Now, 48... Shit, wait, let me... 16,400. What did I say? 180, 180, 180. Okay. And then 10,4. Okay. So 5,460. The wings hold 4,900 pounds. So really what we could do, I mean, dude, we could just top, what we know for a fact is if we can take 5,400 pounds maximum, wings and tips will take us the day. It'll take us the rest of the day because it'll take us there and back no problem. Because wings and tips are 4,900 pounds, and we're talking 4,900 pounds minus 1,200 to go there. Let's see, minus 1,200 back. Yeah, 4,900 pounds minus 1,200 to get there means that we land with 3,700 pounds of fuel left. We don't even bother fueling there. We come back with a tailwind, by the way. It's probably going to be probably a 35-minute flight or something. We'd burn, let's just say we burn another 12. Actually, we did the flight planning back. Dude, it's less than 1,000 pounds back, dude. We're going to be hauling ass. It's a 30-minute flight. You know? So, let's just say it's 1,000 pounds back. We're going to leave Chicago with 3,700 pounds of fuel. We're going to burn 1,000 to get back home. We're going to land back in base with 2,700 pounds of fuel. So wings and tips means that we are comfortably under max landing weight by the time we get to Chicago, and we land with 2,700 pounds of fuel at the end of the day without even needing to fuel in Chicago. So that works. that works. It also is legally like compliant with destination, alternate, and 45 minutes after. So we have the flight plan, we have the fuel, we have the route, we have the alternate airport, we have the regs that we know about. There are some other regs that you want to consider, like if the weather was bad leaving Ypsilanti, you know, if the weather was bad when we were leaving Willow Run, like if the weather taking off was above takeoff minimums per our op specs, but below landing minimums, then we would also need to select a takeoff alternate that was no more than an hour away, but company policy is 30 minutes away. What else? We would need to, yeah, that's pretty much it. So it's going to be a really easy day tomorrow. Easy flight, easy to program, easy flight back. And yeah, that's basically it. So I hope you guys had, you learned something on this flight planning discussion. And I thank you for hanging out and going through that with me. Feel free to shoot me any questions on Discord, any questions that you have. And I'll try my best to do an IRL from Chicago tomorrow. But if I'm not able to, I'll probably do something maybe at the end of the day. So just to kind of wrap up and kind of reflect on how things went. And yeah, that's basically it. So thanks for tuning in, and have a great rest of the night. I'll be back here in a little bit with some 3D modeling stuff. I'm gonna have a quick snacky, and then we'll get to it. So thanks a lot. Have a good night, guys. See ya.